Hello everyone and welcome back to A Bit Tactical, where today I'm going to be doing the forward ops for the Scout Squad. Like with all my guide videos, at the end of the video it's going to be a rules read section in which I simply explain how this stuff works, but I like to personally just get right into the guide because that's kind of my favorite part of this whole channel. There are timestamps below for your convenience, and with all that yapping done, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, just some general stuff. You're always going to take device plan for that extra CP and tactical maneuver for that extra APL. These two are very powerful. CP, no explanation. Tactical maneuver, at any point during the strategy phase, being able to give someone a third APL is just really, really nice. And a cool little thing that you can do is that now with your sergeant, right, you can technically have 3 people, turning point 2 or 3, have a third APL on your 9 operative team that has a lot of health, has a lot of things that they can do, which can be pretty helpful. Other thing is seek tokens and the booby traps, or triple arms and the booby traps. These two things can basically shut off an entire portion of the map to your opponent, right? I have played about 15 games with the Scout Squad at this point, and in every single one of those games, if I put a seek token down, nobody goes into that place at all. I've never shot somebody because of a seek token. What it does is it's asset denial. People will not move there if they think they're going to be shot, right? They're just not going to do it. This can obviously be used defensively, but it can also be used offensively. If you know they're not going to be there, if you know they're going to probably try to stage to get there, you can move your guys up pretty safely, knowing that there's going to be this barrier zone where your opponent is just not going to enter. Same thing with the booby trap, though, to a lesser degree, right? Not 2 inches. It's only 1 inch control range, right? But still, I have said it in Volcus. I have said it on certain corners where I know, hey, right there, I know you're probably going to go there at some point, but I'm going to keep it so that you have to... I'm going to put the booby trap there so that you get interrupted, you're going to take some damage, and you're going to have to waste some APL. And again, 9 times out of 10, they don't go there. It's just complete asset denial. I've had like 2 or 3 where they eat the damage, and their damage is not too crazy. It's mostly the interrupt, because they're basically sacrificing a model. The 2 repositions are also really nice. There have been multiple times where I've set up ladders, I have vantage, I get 2 of my gunners up there, or a gunner and the sniper, both of them up there, ready to shoot immediately at the start of the turning point. There's even been a time where my opponent accidentally put somebody in light terrain, and I was able to get a really good shot because my guys were right there, beginning of turning point 1, and I got an early turning point 1 kill. And there's just some other things that can kind of come in clutch when you least expect it. For example, I played against the Raveners, and I had this moment where I had a Ravener close to my side of the board. I threw out a stun grenade against him, got him down to -1 APL. I threw out a second stun grenade. No, not a second. I used diversion because he was on the edge of the killboard zone, and I took another APL from him. So that was a Ravener that was basically not useless, but not as useful as he could have been with 1 APL. And if all else fails, even something like Spy, knowing what your opponent's tac op is going to be can be very useful in terms of denying them points, right? This is a points game, and it's all the games that I played. There were 2 things that the Scout Squad was able to do very easily: get their own tac. And because of the bulkiness of my models, or not the bulkiness, the toughness of my models, and the fact that I had more than an elite team, I'm able to deny my opponent some of their tac ops, depending on what they have. If they have contain, I'm able to deny it easily. If they have champion, another thing I'm able to deny very easily. Like, for example, against elite teams, I actually like using designate target against them, because I put on somebody that I find not worthy of getting killed, and now I have access to both ceaseless from the strategy ploy, or ceaseless or balance from the strategy ploy, and then I could reroll another dice with it. Because remember, designate target does not give you balance, it just acts as if it were balanced. So you can use designate target, you can use balanced if you have that, or you can use ceaseless if you have that, which gives you access to a whole bunch of rerolls on one target, right? it can be very effective, and it all works together really well to make the shooting on this team feel almost oppressive against your opponent. So if we know that device plan and tactical maneuver are going to be taken 99% of the time, that leaves you with 4 options, right? And with those 4 options, you have to ask yourself, what are you doing? Like I said, against an elite team, I like taking designate target. I like taking the seek tokens. The booby trap, not so much. It is nice to have that area that can interrupt, but again, against a 6-man team or a 5-man team, not too worried about having that, so I don't take it. However, against, vet guard, other teams like this, where getting that booby trap it won't kill them, but it could injure them and definitely stop them in their place. It can be very useful. Not to mention that seek with the booby trap make it so you can push up very offensively. So against teams that out-activate me or out-activate you in your scout squad, putting down the seek tokens, putting down the booby trap can work really, really well in pushing your opponent or pushing your models up one side of the board, keeping them back a little bit because they're scared to get into that seek token range, and then pushing forward and charging and attacking them, right? Again, against teams that don't really have good melee, you have like mid-tier melee if you give yourselves combat knives. And then of course you have your warriors that can have the knives. Using the seek tokens or the triple arm tokens and the booby trap to push up on the side of the board and then just start charging people can actually work really well with you. And then giving out that extra APL, right? You have 1 extra APL from your sergeant from the last turning point. You give an extra APL again to another one of your warriors. You now have 2 guys who are kind of space breeds, right? They got 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4 or 5 damage. They go in, kill these easy models, take a shot at somebody if they can, or throw out a stun grenade or whatever, or a smoke grenade on top of themselves, or plant a beacon. There's so much that your warriors can do with this stuff. It's kind of like, to me, it's built around that. It's built around the warriors and the forward ops. But the last thing I want to say is you can't build your whole strategy around the forward ops themselves. They're good. They do cool stuff. But, I wish we had 1 more. Okay, I wish we had 7 instead of just 6. But on top of that, turning point 2 onward, most benefits, unless you take designate target and that guy's not dead, go away, right? A lot of the usefulness kind of goes away, depending on what you pick. So while they're good to boost an early tactic, overall strategy, you should still focus on what your team is going to do. Are you going for attack and crit up? Are you going for attack and killing, which is what it should be? It should be attack and critting. You have plant beacons, at least for now. And with that, you should 100% go that route. But yeah, don't try to focus entirely around just the forward ops. They are nice little additions to the team that can help them, but they are not the end-all, be-all to your strategy. All right, that's it for this strategy guide. I'm now going to go on to the rules read portion and stuff. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. And don't forget that, guide people, I do like you more than the other people. And with that, let's go on to the rules read. All right, let's start with the rules read with forward scouting. At the end of the setup operative step, you can select and resolve up to 6 forward scouting options. Each option has a number in brackets, which is the maximum number of times you can select and resolve it for the battle. For example, your 5 selections could be reposition twice, triple arm once, booby trap once, and diversion once. If both players have this rule, alternate resolving selection by selection, starting with the player with initiative. All right, let's go down the list. So you got reposition. Perform a free reposition action with 1 friendly operative that's wholly within your drop zone. It must end that move wholly within 3 inches of your drop zone. You can do this twice. You also have redeploy, change the setup of a third of your operatives. Then you have triple arm. Place one of your triple arm markers more than 6 inches from your opponent's drop zone during the first and second turning point whenever a friendly scout squad operative is shooting an enemy operative that's within 2 inches of that marker. That friendly operative's ranged weapons have the seek weapon rule. In the ready step of the third strategy phase, remove that marker. Then we have booby trap. Place one of your booby trap markers more than 6 inches from your opponent's drop zone and more than 2 inches from other markers, access points, and accessible terrain. The first time your booby trap marker is within an enemy operative's control range, remove that marker and inflict 2d3 damage on that operative. If it isn't incapacitated and its actions, if any, even if that action's effects aren't fulfilled. If it cannot be placed, move it the minimum amount to do so. You have the Vise plan, which you can take once to gain 1 CP. Diversion, once per battle. As a strategic gambit, select one enemy operative within 6 inches of a kill zone edge. Until the end of that operative's next activation, subtract 1 from its APL stat. Once per battle, and then you have Tactical Maneuver, which you can take once as well. Once per battle, strategic gambit, select one friendly operative. Until the end of that operative's next activation, add 1 to its APL stat. Then you have Designate Target. You can take this once. Select one enemy operative to gain one of your target tokens. Whenever a friendly scout squad operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against an enemy operative that has one of your target tokens, you can re-roll one of your attack dice. So just so you know, it does act as balance. However, it is not balanced. So if you have another instance of balanced available to you, you can still use that and use this rule as well. And then you have Spy, which is for approved ops only. Your opponent must reveal the select attack op. Pretty useful. Alright guys, that's the end of this video. The rules read section. Remember guys, rules read people. I like you better than I like the guide people. We love reading in here, okay? Black Library novels all day. Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.